Hello, Star Citizens, and welcome to another video. Don't forget, we have two ship contests going on. One that requires you to bring people to the game, the other that requires you to like and subscribe and leave comments. Make sure you go and check out our most recent videos, and it will have all of the rules on there. But today is Star Citizen Nightly, another episode. I believe this is episode 7, but I could be wrong because sometimes I am wrong about the particular day that it is. Sometimes I think Mondays are Saturdays and Saturdays are Wednesdays. Doesn't matter. That's just me. Anyway, back to it. So today we had a few things. So first we had a Star Citizen Live, and basically they designed a ship using what's called kit bashing, which is where they just take a bunch of pre-existing assets and bash them together. You know, the pre-existing assets are the kits, and then the bashing is putting them together, something like that. So that's the idea, and that's what the whole Star Citizen Live was about. Them basically creating something, not from scratch, but like from the very early stages to like a kind of a finished ship, so to speak. And basically, it wasn't a ship that's actually going to be in game unless we ask John Crew a lot, is basically what the premise of that show was. I didn't particularly like the design as far as like something I would want to use in Star Citizen, but I did think it was unique, and I do like unique things coming to Star Citizen, so I'll give it that. The rest of our news, so first let's talk about International Bar Citizen. So they are coming to Montreal on June 14th, Manchester June 15th, Frankfurt, Germany, June 15th, Austin, Texas, June 15th, and LA, California, June 15th. So, looks like it's just the 14th and the 15th. Those are the days that were announced for this weekend. So, or not this weekend, next weekend. So, there you have it. If you want to do a Bar Citizen, you're more likely, I think, when they announce it like this, these international Bar Citizens, I think there's like really good giveaways and stuff during these. You're more likely to meet a dev at like the ones that are like officially sponsored, like and pushed out to everybody like this. So there you have it. If you go to Bar Citizens, I want to go to the one in Montreal, but it's not enough notice for me to go. If it was like 3 weeks from now, I probably would have been able to go. But I am going to go tour the Montreal studio at some point, whenever they let people, tour it. But yeah, I look forward to it. Anyway, moving on. So the next point of news was that we are not getting any changes to the speed limiter, including being able to set the speed limiter to default as off by 3.23. So, I guess boo for that. But one thing I do want to talk about is Yogi Clat is in. Yogi Clat is in the rest of everything we're going to talk about tonight. So Yogi Clat basically came and tried to kind of quell some of the fears of master modes. I don't think it worked, because I think a lot of the fears for master modes are pre-baked. Like people have kind of dug in, and they're just ready to state their opinion rather than listen to the developers. So it is what it is. Like I said before, I think master modes definitely need some work, but I do like the direction that master modes is going into. We just got to get that 6 degree of freedom thing down pat. I think right now it's a little too 3 degree of freedom, and I think there's other creators that have said that. So it needs work, absolutely. But, I just hope everybody can move towards the constructive criticism part. So what did Yogi have to say besides the fact that we're not getting the speed limiter until at least 4.0? Well, Yogi came on and was like, here you go. We have some details for you. All right. So Yogi's statement. So this is how it started. They said Yogi's statement that everything and 3.23 is just a placeholder for completely different balancing in 4.0 is the first time they heard this. So basically, basically you go back and listen to Yogi Clat. A lot of people, when Yogi Clat speaks, they take his word as law, as he's not the final voice on anything. He's a very high up, CIG person as far as master modes is concerned, and it's kind of his pet. but he's not the final say on these things. So I'm not sure why people take his word as like the law, and he's capable of mistakes because he's human. So like sometimes he says words that don't necessarily fit exactly what the current state is, and he even agrees on that. He says he needs to sometimes word things more carefully. But in response to this, he says, no, not everything. Only the current weapon tuning is a placeholder, and I have mentioned that in official comm channels before. The current weapon and item tuning needs to be overhauled because it is not compatible with the upcoming resource network and engineering gameplay, meaning it will change at 4.0. In that regard, certain aspects of 3.23 are a one-way road because 4.0 will change them anyways, but that does not account to all aspects of flight and combat. So basically, there are a lot of things about master modes that are going to change just so that it can work with 4.0. So everything that we have right now, we don't know which things are going to stay and are going to leave by the time we get to 4.0. And we're going to have more dot patches. So once we get to 4.0, we're going to have dot patches, right? And there's confirmation of that in this next part. So the next thing was, so all 3.23 Master Modes combat backer feedback is useless as we are now giving feedback to an already obsolete version. No, that is not what that means. While he says, while his personal focus is on to 4.0 and 4.1, that's confirmation that we're getting dot patches for 4.0, which I think we all could have guessed anyway, but there's your confirmation. There is still a bunch of stuff coming to future 3.23 patches. That also confirms that we're getting future dot patches. Well, it's .23 dot patches that include much wanted ship tuning fixes and some weapon changes. So stop there. We're getting more ship tuning and more weapon changes before we even get to 4.0. So even though 4.0 is on the roadmap right now, that doesn't mean that it's the next patch that's going to change major things. It's just the next major patch. So this is, I think a lot of this is like what we talked about last Star Citizen Nightly, where it's like things are still changing, but things are getting to the point where they're starting to finalize certain things, and that's why everybody, I think, is starting to feel that pressure to like, we need to push on CIG a little bit more to make sure this stuff is getting it right. And as you should, and I'll say this again, and I'll keep saying it in every video that we mention this stuff, you definitely need to talk to CIG and make sure that you are providing constructive criticism on how to make the modes better and talking about the things you don't like. But let's not act like the sky is falling. Continuing Yogi Klatt's comments, it does not mean that feedback is obsolete. In general, we usually don't do things from scratch. Even the flight experience in 3.23 was not drastically new. It was an iteration of previous models, but we still haven't hit the mark we wanted to hit, so we will keep iterating as we go. We've got lots of good feedback over the last weeks and months, and it absolutely affected the work on Flight and Combat Beyond 3.23. So he's listening. Yogi is listening. If you're gonna take his word as, you know, this absolute when he's, you know, saying things you don't like, then you have to take it as an absolute when he says things that are likable, right? Especially when he's talking about taking all of the feedback, getting the good feedback and using it to affect their work moving forward. So Master Modes is going to get better, folks. I know there's people that don't want to believe it for some reason, but it's going to get better. And I don't know how much better, you know, maybe it gets 1% better, maybe it gets 200% better, but it's going to get better. So there you have it. Continuing on. But here, Yogi is effectively saying he doesn't care about any balances and changes to MM. He didn't say that at all. He literally did not say that. But let's read what he said. He said, so that is on me. I should have worded that way more carefully, knowing that it could be misquoted. Of course, I care about the current game. That was more aimed at the current tuning state of the weapons, which, as I said before, will get changed to 4.0 in spite of some adjustments in future 3.23 patches. And the fact that my focus is not on 3.23 anymore, that is what this meant. Please do not read anything more into it. Well, you can't tell Star Citizen fans not to read into things because we read into things. But at the same time, I also think that is not what he said. He never said that he doesn't care about anything. In fact, I don't even think he's used the words I don't care while talking to anybody in this like category of spectrum, you know? So it's really weird when people just put words into developers' mouths. But yeah, there you have it. Some things that are coming for 3.23. So we are definitely getting some more tuning fixes, ship tuning. We're getting some more weapon changes, definitely before 4.0. And as it should be, I think Yogi is basically saying here, we're just tuning, right? Like, that doesn't mean things aren't coming later. It just means that we're tuning right now, right? So like, imagine if you had your computer, right? And you know that there were some, inefficiencies on your computer. You need better fans and so on and so forth. It doesn't matter that you're getting a computer next year, a brand new computer next year. Right now, your new computer, your current computer needs tuning. So you buy the new fans and stuff like that. Now, when you get your new computer in the next year, right? You might keep your graphics card. You might keep your motherboard. You might keep your case, whatever. You might keep parts of it. You might keep your RAM, whatever you keep, right? So it doesn't mean that you're just throwing everything away and starting brand new. It just means that you're doing tuning to what you have now, and then next year when you get your new PC, you're gonna keep what you need and throw out what you don't, or maybe you sell it and use it to get new parts. But the idea is that that's what's happening with master modes right now. Right now we have our current PC is an allegory for what we currently have with master modes, right? We know that we're getting something new for 4.0, but that doesn't mean 3.23 doesn't matter. It means that it needs to be tuned, and then we will keep what works, and then we'll throw away what doesn't for 4.0 when we bring everything up to the standards that they have to meet for the implementation of the resource network and engineering. So yeah, there we have it, people. We have information that is very useful, and that is it for Star Citizen Nightly. I will see you in the next one. Peace.